Is the exodus within the North Melbourne recruiting department. It comes mid-rebuilds and it emphasises further the tensions that, well, they have been bubbling away within the club throughout the season.
Some tough times, no doubt, when you're going through what we're going through at the moment. And it takes sometimes some thick skin to get through it, but I know the core of our group and what we stand for and what we want to achieve, and led by our coach, he's been fantastic throughout this time, setting the right direction, setting the standards, and that's our job as senior players, setting the right example.
The stories coming out of the club about the relationship between the coach and the players are disturbing. I'm hearing more and more about players just being a bit disenchanted.
There's always going to be players disenchanted with a coach, but you're saying it's bigger than that.
I'm not saying David Noble's gone. I think he's got a lot of work to do to win back some players.
I get the sentiment from the outside of the way he goes about it, but the way, for me, he's been coaching, he's been fantastic. He's extracting plenty out of our group. He's providing plenty of opportunities for our players to learn, and we're learning plenty of lessons now that are going to hold us in really good stead in the next 12, 18, 24 months, and then we're going to be climbing up that ladder.
I don't think he's got the list that he needs. This isn't a coaching issue, this is a list issue. You can't pick players off a computer screen. That's what I'm saying. There needs to be a process with their recruiting and their list management that there hasn't been. What's one positive list management move they have made in the last 3 years?
I understand that comes with the territory. When we won 1 out of 10 games, fingers start to get pointed. So that's on us as players and coaches and everyone to make sure that our performances on the weekend start to improve. And I actually thought on the weekend, I know we got beaten by 45 points, but the way we went about our footy on the weekend was an improvement. It's something we can build on as well, because Melbourne are the benchmark. They're a bloody good side, and we stuck with them for 3 and a bit quarters.
So Jack Ziebell during the day, but what landed late was long-time National Recruiting Manager Mark Finnegan, Head of Player Personnel Glenn Luff and National Recruiting Officer Ben Berthasell have all departed the club, and North Melbourne's initial attempt is to paint this as a coincidence, but Robbo, this is an old-fashioned tyre fire.
Tyre fire. Yeah, Jared, we're a week away from the mid-season draft, for a couple of weeks away from the under-18 championships, and the list management, the recruiting management have walked out in the club. And the club's saying, and Brady Rawlings spoke today and said, no, everything's OK, it's a coincidence. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Let's not be in denial anymore, can we? North Melbourne, they're in denial about this. Come out and say these gentlemen have left because they don't want to work at the club. And why don't they want to work at the club, Jared? That's the question. Why? Now, either they want to get rid of them all because they think they're no good. Come out and say it. Because right now, I'm believing that these people can't work at this club anymore because of the atmosphere at this club.
And the atmosphere being overwhelmingly negative.
Overwhelmingly negative, not allowing them to do their job properly, just an environment. It's really difficult. And everyone at home, think of your own work environment. Jared, and you too. All of us think of our own work environment and say, we wake up tomorrow and in the middle afternoon, 3 of your key people said, we're out. What does everyone do? Well, where's that coming from? You've got to look within. It's many crises there. And whether they say, nah, it's not. From afar, that's what it looks like.
So they're 2 drafts into their long-term rebuild, and this is the department that is tasked with it. So either they have drastically failed across the first 2 years, or we just witnessed the fracture in unity and mission.
Maybe the fracture in unity and mission. I don't know if they've failed. Players come in and they need time to develop, and they scrape the bottom of the barrel. Now, people saying to me, this is what I can't handle. I just can't handle. And I believe Jack Ziebell. When Jack Ziebell speaks, he's one of those people that he doesn't lie. I've spoken to him many times. He's a really honest footballer. When he says we're supporting the coach, I believe they are. And if players aren't supporting the coach, well, those players have got to stop looking for scapegoats and look at themselves. David Noble, and I don't know him that well, he's been appointed at a club who has stripped their list. Righto, build from the ground up. And it's a hard game, Jared. Carlton have finally come good after 6, 7 years. He's 30 games into it. So these players, if they're whinging, will get out. He has said, you're coming along for the ride, come for the ride. And if you're not up to it, you're out. And that's what you've got to be. You can't be cuddling people when you're doing a rebuild. You've got to be setting standards. So I'm with Ziebell there. But the environment that forced those three people to go, the club's got to look at and say, right, we've got a problem here. We've got a problem. It's very unlike the Kangaroos. The Kangaroos have always had, it's not a reputation because it was real, of a real people's club.
Yeah.
Really looking after
And this is where
their people.
Finnegan's such a significant figure because he's been there 17 years. So he's a fabric, heart and soul
Yeah,
man at the
absolutely.
club.
Absolutely.
He gets an offer from Hawthorn. I think North Melbourne are not overly interested in matching it, so he goes.
Yeah, what about the other two?
Yeah, so...
Glenn Luff,
yeah.
risk management.
The fact that the trio, that is the core of your recruiting
Absolutely.
department. So rebuilds only work when stability is achieved. And I think we've seen enough. Once the stability fails, the rebuild usually collapses and you have to start again. So this is the risk in this phase for North Melbourne. And if this instability lasts right throughout the year, then what does it look like in the off-season? And have gains been made coming into 2023? We've seen rebuilds stuck. Attempted collapse, attempted collapse. And Melbourne and Carlton are right before us. And it is usually not having the right people in the right positions or instability.
Dr. Sonia Hood's the
rocks
new
it.
chairman of the club. If this hasn't happened already, it should. She should ring up Brady Rawlings and say what is going on at our football club. Like, don't have to be stern, but just get the answers. Have we as a club, where are we failing in the environment situation? We can see what's happening on the field, and it's tough going. Kingy showed us those numbers last week, mate. First year, second year, it is tough going. Hard game. But that's separate to the culture within the football club. And that's what's fracturing. It seems to be fracturing right now. And if North Melbourne says to all their fans, you know those North Melbourne fans, they go every week. This year, they're trying to turn up, they're getting beaten. And North Melbourne comes out and says, oh, there's nothing to see here. Nah, come on, that's not the Kangaroos that I know.
No, well, not when they've sold their message so overwhelmingly to their public to try to keep them together and explain this is what it is. So there is the need to... So what is this?
Yeah, what is it?
Don't give us coincidence that this has played out across the
Well,
country.
Benamafio he's the chief executive, right? And Brady Rawlings is the head of football. And Rawlings reports to Benamafio. Either Benamafio should get up tomorrow to all their fans and explain what's going on, or at least take some questions, and at least try and tell the truth.
Yeah, and what...
Don't spin. No spin.
What sits with the chief executive, what sits with the coach, and do things need to change?
Yeah.
If you lose good people from within your football club, as you've pointed out, it usually is a trigger for change.